Fulham returned to winning ways in the Premier League with a 2-0 victory over Nottingham Forest on Saturday afternoon. A first-half beauty from Willian gave Fulham a narrow lead heading into half-time before a late Manor Solomon effort put the match beyond doubt in the 88th minute. Hey, the Cottages all happy for yesterday's match? I said in yesterday's video that it would be a show, didn't I? Before I start telling you about the match, you're already subscribing to the channel and continue receiving our content, okay? Then let's go. Marco Silva named the same starting 11 that had picked up a deserved point away at Stamford Bridge prior to our Emirates FA Cup victory on Wednesday night in the northeast. A total of 9 changes, resorting back to a battle-hardened lineup to counter an informed Nottingham Forest side. After a tentative start to the match, the visitors were forced into 2 changes through injury. Willie Boy and Scott McKenna were both forced off in rather innocuous circumstances, to be replaced by Joe Worrell and Felipe. A truly baffling sequence of events in the opening 5 minutes, disrupting the approach and setup of manager Steve Cooper. In the 17th minute the deadlock was broken in exquisite fashion. Following an Andreas Pereira free kick, the ball was fizzed around the box in a chaotic sequence. Eventually, in a sea of activity, the ball fell to the calm boot of Willian. After a picture-perfect turn to commit his defender, the Brazilian winger unleashed a beautiful left-footed strike that nestled deliciously in the top corner. A truly wonderful goal. Under 10 minutes later, Forest threatened. After the ball was won in the midfield, the counter was on. Brennan Johnson burst down the right wing, and with Chris Wood unmarked in the box, the Welsh international looked to pick out the big striker. His low cross looked destined for its intended target before Issa Diop slid across to poke the ball behind for a corner. In the 33rd minute, we were pushing for a second. Willian, again involved, received a lofted pass on the left wing deep in the opposition's half. Following a meandering forward run, a strong low pass into the feet of Mitro caught the Serbian talisman in full flow. After selling the defender, he looked to squeeze an effort in the bottom corner past the onrushing Keylor Navas. The deadline day acquisition was alert and produced a fine stop to keep it at 1-0. We were knocking on the door again prior to half-time. First, Bobby de Cordova-Reid thumped a vicious right-footed shot off the top of the bar from 30 yards out, and in the ensuing attack Pereira powered a shot from just inside the box wide of the far post. The slender lead was maintained heading into the half-time interval, with the visitors fortunate not to be further cut adrift. The first half was really impressive. I was surprised by the White superiority over the good Nottingham team from that season. If you also liked it, like and share to help our channel, and comment your opinion too. The second half commenced in the same style the first had ended, with Fulham on the attack. Willian, oozing confidence, went for goal from distance once again. After a perfectly timed interception from Tim Ream, Fulham flooded forward and the Brazilian looked to bend on in the far corner, with his right foot this time. With the Hammersmith end on their feet in anticipation, the ball glanced the outside of the post and went behind for a goal kick. Would Fulham be made to rue their missed opportunities? It certainly seemed that way as the second half progressed and Nottingham Forest began to work their way back into the match. Emmanuel Dennis and Morgan Gibbs-White both guilty of being wasteful from close range. In the 70th minute, arguably the best player on the pitch was forced off through injury. Willian, unable to continue because of a leg injury, was replaced by Manor Solomon. It was getting nervy as waves of Nottingham Forest players flooded forward, as Steve Cooper thrust more and more attacking bodies onto the pitch. With time winding down, Cooper's men continued to press and probe, but in the 88th minute the result was put beyond doubt courtesy of Solomon. Kenny Tatey, once again in fine form, rode a poor challenge and pressed into the Nottingham Forest half. A low pass picked out Pereira, and with defenders scrambling to get back into position, an extra pass picked out an unmarked Solomon. With only Navas to beat, the Israel international slammed a perfect effort in at the near post. The result moves Fulham to within 4 points of 5th place Tottenham, who were beaten 4-1 at Leicester. Game, set and match. Fulham will look to rest up and continue their fine run of form away at Brighton next Saturday. That's it, we'll be here to give you the main news of the best season. This is the Cottage View, your Fulham news channel. Don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with all the news.